Both players have brought a lineup which includes Rogue and Druid and Hunter. So both players have Face Hunter, both players have Oil Rogue. And actually the Druid is not the same. A has Druid, half has Mage. So same Hunter, same Rogue, different third class. We'll have to wait and see which picks are first. It's a natural choice to go for the Face Hunter. All of these cards from A will get mulliganed out. And half's part, Kill Command will probably get mulliganed out, but everything else he might keep. The Abusive Sergeant, you don't want to hold on to. Or do you actually? Since you have the coin, you might want to hold on to the Abusive Sergeant. Clear out the whole set. You want better choices like Leper Gnomes or even Mad Scientists. The Sergeant will give you more presence or more use out of it when you already have board presence. Coining out the Mad Scientist, fairly straightforward. Given the fact that the only option would have been not to play anything and you are playing in a Face Hunter mirror, I would say that it is fairly high priority for you to maximize all of the mana crystals that you can, and each and every turn you have to keep pushing out at least a minion, if not a minion then some sort of spell combined with the hero ability. The starting hand where you mulligan out an Arcane Golem and then you get a second Arcane Golem in favor of it, it's not, oh my lord, it's not something you want to see. This is a really, really horrible start for A. The RMP will be able to silence the Death Rattle from the Mad Scientist, and he will be able to activate his own Explosive Trap from the Mad Scientist if he wants to, but that's not something you would want to be using on turn 2 in an ideal world. For half, he's got the turn 1 play, turn 2 play, and the turn 3 play with the Wolf Rider as well. He can start racing if he wants to. A's side of the board has the threat of the Mad Scientist's secret. So the more minions you commit at this early stage means the more minions you're gonna be giving up to an Explosive Trap. He's also holding on to an Explosive Trap of his own in his own hand, so that's a bit of a dead card in this stage of the game. But yeah, racing, we go. I understand the logic behind this. The only bigger thing on turn 3 that you might be facing is an Arcane Golem. And in this situation, when he trades the 2-1 for the 2-1, the Unleash the Hounds loses some of its effectiveness. You only get 2 Hounds if you play it, and don't have an activator for the kill command for the late game. This Eaglehorn Bow knew its place, very, very potent as a board clear right now. You can use it to take out the Mad Scientist from the opposing side of the board. Of course, see first what sort of trap you get from the Mad Scientist. And the trap from your side, which is the Explosive Trap, when it gets activated, will get 1 more charge for the Eaglehorn Bow. He wants to make sure that this single Mad Scientist is not the only thing getting lost into the Explosive Trap, so that's the reason why you clear out the 2-2. Also saves some damage from your own face, so I get the decision why he goes for that. You're forced to go Arcane Golem, Abusive Sergeant. It's not a pretty picture. Luckily for him though, he is facing another Face Hunter, and in this matchup those mana crystals are not that vital. Half could go for the Explosive Trap Knife Juggler Hero Power, or you could sacrifice the Hero Power by going Knife Juggler Arcane Golem. If you use that, you're putting out 4 damage and juggling. You hope that it hits the Arcane Golem, which would enable this Haunted Creeper to trade into it. Actually, I think that the Knife Juggler Arcane Golem play is definitely the best, because even if it hits just the Abusive Sergeant, you can still trade this Haunted Creeper out into the 4-2. And when you do that, those 2 spawning spiders will be able to 50% chance take out the Arcane Golem. yeah, you're left with the 3-2 and the 1-1s, which will die into the explosive trap. So if you want to optimize the trap usage, you're gonna go ahead and activate that explosive trap this turn. Take the risk of taking an extra 9 damage on the following turn to your face. Yeah, that's really bad. 9 damage to the face. That's not something you want to be seeing. Decides to not activate the explosive trap. This means that the Eagle Horn Bow normally would not be able to be used. You'd want to hold on to the 1 charge, so the explosive trap would add you something more. Since the explosive trap from half is up as well, it's unlikely he'll use this bow before utilizing his minions to take out as much of the board presence from half as possible. You can argue trading the 2-1 into the Hunt Creeper for the Unleash would also be an option to take out the 1-1s, but then you're just proccing the Arcane Golem into the explosive trap anyway, and you can proc that explosive trap with just your bow. Definitely don't want to play any of the bigger cards. The kill command this turn would only deal 3 damage. The Arcane Golem would just die to this trap. So yep, he's gonna use his existing minions to take out half side of the board. Just push as much as possible. Drops down the Eagle Horn Bow number 2 in combination with the Steady Shot. Very conservative, very wise as options go. 2, 5, 6 or 2, 5 hero ability, depending where the juggle hits. He should definitely try and juggle this turn, because the single 4-1, if it procs this explosive trap, will die into it. Since you've committed the hero ability, this means that you will not be playing either one of these minions. And you get the 50% chance from the Leper Gnome, so it didn't matter even though he used the hero power pretty liberally before seeing where the juggles hit. It's a safe turn to utilize the weapon to proc out the explosive trap without it making any major difference. Unleashing this turn, you can use the kill command for 5 to face, but you are facing 5 damage on the board. You would have to use those dogs to take out the 3-2 juggler. Arcane Golem followed with that. Without the kill command means you might not have an activator for your kill command. On the other hand, the existing minions are not a threat due to your own explosive trap. So you're just going to use the Unleash the Hounds plus those dogs as aggression. There we go. Yeah. This explosive trap effectively meaning that there's no way for Half to proc it without losing his own board completely, and he's only holding on to 4 damage in his hand. If he gets a Huffer, now this is interesting. If he attacks the face now, use the 2-1 to clear one of those dogs, attacks the face with the juggler, then he can pray to get a Huffer that's 4 damage, and 4 damage from the Golem plus hero ability is 10 exactly. Now, do you risk it? If you play those minions down with the juggler, you get the juggle damage, yeah. But you don't get the potential to use them offensively. Those 2 minions that might provide you with lethal. Because both of those only have 2 hit points. There we go. He's gonna go for the I want to win this game option. Is it a Huffer or is it something else? If it's Huffer, he wins. If it's not, he loses. Nope, it's not. The 4-4 Misha can be taken out with the Arcane Golem. Actually, even though it is taken out by the Arcane Golem, he still needs something to deal 3 damage. So kill command, is that enough? No, 1, 2, 3, 6 plus explosive trap, that is lethal. But it won't matter because of the fact that the explosive trap won't be procced half unless he does some sort of weird BM. He will just use his hero ability.
I wonder.
Huh. Who would have thought? There we go. Face Hunter matchup actually requiring some sort of skill to play. Both players had a pretty poor start, had a Pretty bad situation to begin with. Despite that, half from Team Empire able to take win number 1 with the critical 1 damage that he needed. And it wasn't even a juggle damage, I think. The juggle that went into the Arcane Golem was not significant. That wasn't the one that decided the game. Were there any juggles to the face? If the chat remembers any juggles to the face, go ahead and remind me. Actually, there was 2 significant damages, yeah, because even if he had been at 2 hit points, the hero ability would still have killed him. So if there were 2 juggles. The choice for A might still be the Face Hunter. Yep, there we go. Because the fact that the Face Hunter is very, very easy to play against any of Half's remaining choices of Rogue or Mage. If you're faced with the Mage, you're just going to try and race them down before the Mage gets the momentum going. And if you're faced with the Rogue, the same pretty much applies. Rogue does have a huge amount of burst, but it requires at least some sort of mid-range or maybe even late game to be able to activate it. So the Face Hunter is a logical choice to get your first win out of the way. Infiltrator will be held on to, but both the other cards. Going back to the deck. Oh, even a Leroy Jenkins. That is a card that hasn't been seen in the meta for a long time, until recently when Face Hunter made its comeback. Leroy, after the nerf, hasn't been able to be played in cards like Rogue with the Shadow Steps. But when you're playing a deck which basically just bases itself on being able to deal out as much damage as possible, as fast as possible, the turn 5 Leroy Jenkins has the potential to be lethal. So of course you're going to add him there as one of the best neutral cards to get to burst for damage. Coining out the SI7 agent, clearing out the Worgen Infiltrator, no problem. It's looking fairly good for Half. He's got the poison to increase his damage up to 3. He's got the Farseer for the heal, and the Fan and Knives in case A decides to commit more than one hit point minion onto the board. This turn 3 is really clunky for A. If he goes for the Arcane Golem route, yeah, it does trade with the SI7 agent, and yeah, it does deal damage. But it also enables the Rogue to get his combos off in an earlier fashion. You can go daggers, coin, sharp sword if you want to go for face, but that makes very little sense. I would suspect we'll see an SI7 agent go into the Arcane Golem with the follow-up of Earthering Farseer for the heal, because that's the more safe play, that's the more consistent play. If you go for the Fan and Knives with the prep, you get the 1 damage, you try to fish for something, maybe. Nope, that's the aggressive choice. You're gonna start to race the Hunter. 12 damage. Already on board. Force the Face Hunter to do trades. Interesting strategy. Yeah, the explosive trap by itself is not enough to kill the 6-3. Mad Scientist hero power. In the end, that might have been a mistake, to go for that ultra-aggressive play. Kind of wasted that Tinker Sharp Sword though. Well, not a whole lot, but still. If you had had the Blade Flurry in your hand, waiting for it to be activated. Yeah. I guess Half doesn't expect the match to last very long, and since he was holding on to double prep, he wanted to make use of the Tinker Sharp Sword Oil as fast as he could. And he had a minion which was capable of attacking immediately, so I do understand the reasoning behind it. If he had held on to the oil for later, that might have ended up backfiring pretty bad. Sapping this Mad Scientist, not providing much in ways of tempo, but you're not going to have a lot of targets to sap anyway. forced to prep sprint, see what comes up for 4 mana. It's a good card to get when you're so low on cards, especially for a rogue who doesn't usually rely on anything except for those sprints to get the required draws. And the backstab is exactly what you want to see. It is literally the card you want to use against the 4-2 Arcane Golem. Backstab into another Earthring Farseer. Clear out this Mad Scientist with your own Earthring Farseer. You can even argue to go for the Hero Power South Sea if you want to go for just the trade. Yeah, you could actually say that the Mad Scientist is small enough to ignore, and half agrees. To use the 3/3 to go for the face damage means you're chipping out 1/4 of your opponent's health at this stage. That's something you have to be scared of as the hunter. You see, you're at 9, the opposing Oiled Rogue has 2 3/3s on the board, he only needs to deal 3 damage, and you haven't seen a single Eviscerate, you haven't seen any burst, except for that single Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil. That ultra-aggressive play from half might actually be making this game very, very hard for A to turn around. He's holding on to Southsea Deckhand plus Eviscerate, which is a 6 damage combo with the Dagger Mastery in 7. So even if these 3/3s get cleared out by the existing minions, it will still be a tough situation for A, given that he will be pushed down to 2 hit points. With the Acid Drake, that's 5 damage from the Eviscerate. You can activate the trap with the Earthring Farseer, and that's not too bad. You should actually activate the trap with the Earthring Farseer, because then your Southsea Deckhand is free to roam the lands. I don't think that playing the Drake right now, you're just gonna give the Drake 2 more damage. You want to conquer the trap first. Well, Blade Flirt. I guess he doesn't care. Just simply wants there to be guaranteed lethal next turn. This play, by not attacking into the explosive trap, you're not down to 18. The Face Hunter, in some weird alternative reality, could deal 18 damage. Well, with the Leroy, that's 6, you would need 12 more. So it was a really, really conservative play by playing around that trap, but it doesn't seem to matter actually in the end, because of the fact that you can use the Southsea Deckhand plus the Dagger combined with the Blade Flurry to deal exact lethal, even without proccing the trap on the previous turn. It is now 2-0 for half. The Russian player taking a very, very convincing lead in this best of 5 conquest format from the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 21, powered by Fractio. Will we see a 3-0 rollover? I sure hope not. These finals have been really fun to cast. I don't want the fun to end too soon. The last deck available for half is the Mech Mage. So we will probably see the Rogue or the Druid come out from A. Or he might just, yeah, he's just gonna rely on his trusty old Face Hunter.
You asked for it.
He has had bad draws in the previous matches. That is pretty much obvious right now. That's a pretty nice Mad Scientist looking pen to begin with. The Owl and the Leroy might get discarded. You want a top deck into the Leroy. You want the turn 1 Leper Gnome or any other aggressive deck started to begin with. Half holding on to probably both the Mech Warper and this Annoyotron. He got these cards from the Mulligan already. No, that makes sense. Turn 3, Tinkertown Technician after an Annoyotron into a Twin 4 Blast Mage. That would be a pretty good curve. Because of the fact that the Annoyotron is safe. Well, the Mech Warper is also safe from the 2-2 Mad Scientist. But the Abusive Sergeant will be enabling the Mad Scientist to trade away the Mech Warper. This Annoyotron would have been 100% safe from the attack from the 2-2, and he would have been able to activate this Tinkertown Technician. Now Half's turn 3 is not so great. He's just probably gonna end up using the hero power to ping one of these 2/1s out. You do want to play something down on the board which will be able to activate the explosive trap, so Tinkertown Technician as a vanilla 3/3 is not that bad. It's not also bad for the mana curve, because you want to utilize every bit of mana you have in this matchup especially. Leok is not bad. Yeah, there we go. It's not bad because you can now freely deal out an extra 6 damage if you want to the face, or if you want to go for the more safe trade by taking out the 3/3 before it can take out your Leok combined with the hero power from the mage. This makes a whole lot of sense. Usually as Space Hunter you don't want to go for the trades unless they are 100% better in your favor. 100 Creeper hero ability and the Divine Shield pop. If you're feeling aggressive, you go for the Infiltrator, but you are low on cards as a Face Hunter already. So the hero power as an extra card play is pretty much going to be seen every turn from now on, unless he draws into a perfect curve. Something like a 5-drop. Well, you wouldn't be playing Leroy at this stage of the game. I don't think so, at least. This 1/2 will not be here for long, so he has to think about the options available to him. There are no mechs in Half's hand right now. The Blast Mage provides 4 free damage. There we go. The 4 free damage. Finding the worst possible options. He did not want to proc that spider. He definitely wanted those damages to be hitting Leok as well. If he had had 2 damage into Leok, he would have been able to effectively trade the Annoyotron away. Now he has to use them on just the Spectral Spider, which is also buffed, creating a lot more damage output. This Unleash the Hounds will be able to deal 4 damage, so taking out the 5/4 plus the 1/2 Cogmaster before they become a threat. Or just going for face. If you go just for face and you're facing a Mech Mage... Interestingly enough, that is actually an option. Opting to go for both the Worgen Infiltrators right now. Since the Mage is on turn 6, they won't be able to play a Flame Strike. Usually Mech Mages, or some Mech Mages still nowadays run a single Flame Strike as an AoE clear. That Frostbolt could have been used a lot earlier to take out the Leok, but at least you're taking 5 effective attack value off the board with a single removal spell. It's not that bad. His kill command in his hand, 100% dead card. He's just gonna go ahead and use the hero power and nothing else. No mechs being drawn for Half makes his hand fairly poor. If you're forced to play Blast Mage as a vanilla 5/4, I think you are, because you want to use the Fire Blast to take out one of these Infiltrators, and then go ahead and put yourself at least some sort of presence on the board with the Cogmaster and the Blast Mage. If nothing else, then at least the Cogmaster. Because you're saving yourself from the 2 damage from the Infiltrator and maybe have the option of proccing the Explosive Trap if he doesn't take out the Cogmaster. Forced to waste Frostbolt on a 2/1. That's gonna be painful. Actually not forced, he could have held on to it just by playing those minions. Yeah, it would have been 2 extra damage, but that's more of the play to win. And if he trades into the 1/2 with the 2/1, then you don't have to do it for them, and the 5/4 would have been able to proc the trap in a safe environment. That top deck Piloted Shredder, definitely needed in this situation. You can now use the Cogmaster for the Arcane Golem clear. If you want to go lucky with it, you can play the Blast Mage. First, try to get those pings to hit the Golem. Yup, and proc the trap with your 3/2. And 50% chance does pay off. Automobile into kill command, hero ability, Ace Face Hunter, finally getting the win. Have had a horrible synergy curve, holding no mechs and having only the activators. I'm sure we will see a better matchup come the next time. But hey, it is now 2-1 in favor of Half. 1 win for Team noMERCY player from Poland, A83650, and 2 wins for Empire Half from Russia. Sprint prep. That is something that's greedy to hold on to, but you will have a turn 4 draw 4 cards. Against the mech mage though, yeah, I know you will want to wait to get that card later on. The prep being held on to, actually. Interesting choice. Well, it does mean that now when you play just daggers on turn 2, you can go into turn 3 by going prep, deadly poison, SI7 agent, and you have at your disposal 2 free damage from the combo and 3 damage from the dagger as well. So I say you don't attack the 1-2 with the daggers this turn, you leave them up, you use the prep deadly poison to clear out the threats from the board next turn. If you want to play for the longer haul, then you attack the 1-2 with the with the dagger this turn and the next turn, and play the SI7 agent as a vanilla creature, and then go for turn 4 with the Violet Teacher prep deadly poison. Then you don't have the weapon though. Yeah, it's not that great. You pray to get something useful for the preparation other than the deadly poison. Guess that's pretty much the only option. So do you take the risk of not getting something useful for the prep with the Violet Teacher and attack the 1-2 right now? Yep. It's a bit more of the winning play, so to speak. I understand why he does it. Turn 2. You could coin out the spider tank, but you then don't have any play for turn 3 by itself, except for the frost bolts. But you do want to put on the pressure onto the rogue as fast as possible, and it does activate this Cogmaster to be a 3-1, effectively giving you 4 more damage from the attacks and turning it out. Oh yeah, if you use the deadly poison on turn 3, then you can go ahead and dagger up and not drop the SI7 agent. This also means that on 4 you can have the Violet Teacher SI7, Violet Teacher prep deadly poison with 2 1-1s and the 5 attack dagger. Unfortunately for A though, that Frostbolt freezing him out. Prepping the sap much better for the mana use, and removing the mech synergy from the board as well at the same time, leaving you with the effective stats of 5-7 from the single Violet Teacher. Once Mech Mage loses board presence, it's very, very hard to come back with it.
Powering up. Portals online.
It is one of those board presence based rush decks. Tribal mechanics really do work in such a way against you that if you don't have the existing tribals on the board for you to activate your tribal dependent cards on, you're gonna be behind a fairly significant amount. The whole board is clear. He will hold on to the bigger daggers. This deadly poison will work as an activator for the second SI7 agent as well. And it is looking good for the old rogue, although he is still a bit low on hit points. The burst damage from a mech mage without synergy is pretty non-existent. Popping a mirror entity and a mad scientist would be an option. Using the hero power to clear out the 1-1s does take pressure off of your face a little bit. And the mad scientist would not do anything since you're only running 2 mirror entities in a deck like this usually. So that would be it. Thank you, Ivo1Mana, for following the stream. Each and every new follower is much appreciated.
This guy's toast.
SI7 agent dealing out 2 means the mirror entity will get taken out by the existing SI7 agent. Or actually the eviscerate, yeah. He's not really afraid of any sort of AoE right now. Since mech mages don't run Blizzard, they might run a single Flame Strike, and the Flame Strike isn't available to them as of yet. You're gonna overwhelm the board on turn 6 and then on turn 7 finish the game with absolutely nothing in your hand. And there's no way for Half to clear this enough, unless the Blast Mage takes out 4 minions. Nope, it still would not have been enough. And it is 2-2! Huh? I will say, now this is a true thriller. We went from 2-0 to 2-2, and now the only decks left are the decks that both players have differentiating from each other. So the Mech Mage versus Ace Druid, and we would know that Ace Druid has a fair amount of taunts in it. The Sludge Belchers plus the Cenarius. This could be a really uphill battle for Half.
Protect the wild.
And a Wrath as well in their starting hand. The Azure Drake will get mulliganed out. The Azure Drake is too slow for this matchup, I believe. So the Shredder and the Wrath, we will see come up. But Half starting hand is much better than in the previous matches as well. You have the Mech Warper, you have the Annoyotron, and you have the Shredder from his side of the board, combined with an early game coined out Scientist as well. So you have coin out Scientist. Oh, he decides to not take the Annoyotron. Interestingly enough, because you would have had a perfect turn 3 with the Mech Warper Annoyotron combo. I guess he doesn't value the small body of the Annoyotron in this matchup too much. Yep, there we go, the early Mad Scientist. Then on turn 2 you can Mech Warp into a free Clockwork Gnome. Hope that at least one of those mechs stays alive for you to activate your Tinkertown Technician on turn 3, then drop the Shredder on 4. Pretty much perfect curve for Half. Now, if ever, you're gonna get the proc from the Blast Mage as well. You're gonna get the strong start that you want with a rushy deck like this. Innervating out the Potted Shredder means that you have some significant presence. On turn 3, you can actually go for the Shade of Naxxramas or for the Hero Power plus Wrath. Shade of Naxxramas, Innervate Wrath to take out the 2-3. And then use the 4-3 to take out the 2-1, so you remove the synergy. You could also just go for the Hero Power with the Innervate to take out the 2-1. Nope, it's the greedier choice of going for the Dr. Boom on turn 5. I do understand why he holds on to it, because the fact that he has no place after turn 4. If he had played the Innervate this turn, then turn 4 you would have had just Hero Power plus Wrath, nothing else. You would have been stuck with a Dr. Boom, hoping to get a draw for turn 5. And the Powder Shredder gives the Mistress of Pain onto the board. Wrath, probably gonna get used on the Tinkertown. Yeah, there we go. And the Mistress of Pain gonna clear him out. Pretty nice, getting a heal out of it as well. If A can stabilize his board, and it's quite likely, given that he will innervate out the Dr. Boom on turn 5, then Half has his work cut out for him. This Goblin Blast Mage might enable him to clear out some of the Dr. Boom downsides, but yep, you get the chance to play Dr. Boom, you play Dr. Boom. And he's using the 4-4 to clear out the Mad Scientist, because this Pilot Shredder is not a big threat anymore against your own Shade of Naxxramas. Half will want to focus all of his efforts on clearing out the Dr. Boom. Emergency Coolant can freeze down to 7-7, and you can use the Shredder to clear out the Shade of Naxxramas plus Hero Power. Or you can take the risk of first freezing with the Coolant and then dropping the Blast Mage, seeing where the hits land. And only after that attacking with the Shredder. You lose your aggressive stance. Almost all the hits going for Dr. Boom. Had he first done this Blast Mage play, then he could have used the Shredder to take out this Boom. And only then Emergency Coolant the Shade of Naxxramas. On the other hand, it's not bad. You will take 6 damage to the face if you want. Or if A wants to go for the aggressive stance. This shade could also be very effectively used to trade with the Blast Mage. You know it's a mirror entity. So, do you play the Harrison? If you play the Druid of the Claw as a taunt or as a charge 4/4, you can use it to trade for itself, so to speak. Or you can go for the Blast Mage aggression. Put that out as well. But either one of these minions is unable to be played with the Wrath or the Hero ability. So if you play the Druid of the Claw, you have to utilize it somehow. And this Shade of Noxramas will not be able to handle any minions, even the charged 4/4 Druid of the Claw, in any efficient way, because of the fact that it is missing the 2 hit points. If this Boombot were to run into the Shredder, hit the Shredder, pop the Shredder, see what comes out of it, that might be value. But the Wrath play makes a whole lot of sense. This way the Boombot is guaranteed to do something significant, and it hits the perfect amount of damage as well, enabling a drop which only has 1 hit point, and that just hero powers out. With the Shade attack, nothing is left undone. And A has a very, very solid board of a 7/4 and a 5/3, which is just gonna keep climbing up and up with stats. The Frostbolt, good timing, getting rid of the Shade in a very timely fashion. Both minions will be able to kill out Dr. Boom, but not before Dr. Boom will punish your face in a very, very severe manner. There's still the matter of the mirror entity up there, but the Shade of Noxramas is not as high impact as these other cards. I would expect to see the Shade played first. It's a 3/3, so it can in theory go into the Dr. Boom with the Fire Blast and work as a removal as well. It's not an easy turn in any way. If you play the Harrison or the Druid, you're playing according to your mana with the hero ability as well, but you're giving the opposing player a bigger minion than just a 2/2. All options are bad. Your choice is to make the least worst decision.
Time waits for no one.
Let's see what he ends up with. Doesn't want to go for the aggressive play. Wants to go for the more conservative decision. This means the Druid of the Claw will probably be a taunt 4/6. He should use his hero power first if he goes for the taunt, because now he can't attack. Yep. Missing 1 damage right there. Maybe because of the rope. Didn't have time to think it through. That has happened to all of us at some stage. There is no Fireball in Half's hand, so it's not able to handle the 4/6. He saw the problems that A had by playing around the mirror entity, so this new mirror entity becomes a lot more value.
Portals online.
Both existing minions used to clear out the taunt, and your 4/2 bear will be able to match the opposing 7/2 as well, so. Do you want to give him the Shade or the Keeper? The Keeper will be used as 2 damage to clear out the 4/2, so your 7/2 is free to roam, so to speak. I prefer giving the Keeper to the opposing player because that's static to 4 stats, while the Shade would be threatening growing presence at all times. If one wants to be pedantic, this stealth guy should actually be in the middle here. If for some weird reason there would be a card like Cone of Cold, now the Cone of Cold would be able to hit all the minions. Against a mage, you usually want the stealth minion to be in the middle. Opting to use the Dr. Boom to remove the bigger mech threat. Probably because of the fact that he could have handled this Keeper the Grove with the hero power itself. Unfortunately for A, Deciding to play the Keeper of the Grove backfires, since the single spare part that Half was holding on in his hand was a time rewinder, enabling to activate this battle cry from the Keeper of the Grove. No reason not to play both. They are perfect on the curve, they provide some serious threats onto the board. And you can utilize this 3-3 to take out the single neck, destroying some of the presence from the Cogmaster. With the Snowchoker, the Cogmaster will be able to trade in the Shredder. He should definitely go for the Shredder play first, see what pops up out of it. Ah, opting to go for the offensive instead. With the offensive, the Shredder will probably be frozen from the Chugger. You want to be using the Harrison Jones anyway, because of the fact that if you push any of your minions down to 1 hit point, Hero Power will be able to finish it off. On the other hand, the 5-4 will be used to clear out the smaller threat in this case. The 1-2, because of the potential to get 3 damage into it. This Keeper of the Grove is always 2 damage. You know it'll be 2 damage. The Cogmaster could have been 3 damage, so that's the reason why he prioritized removal onto the seemingly smaller threat. Now we know that it's not a mech, so removing the Keeper of the Grove would have been the better call. Half is basically just going for the aggressive choice because he has no reason to try and wrestle board control in this current situation. The swipe, Which one do you swipe? If you swipe 3-3, then you can use your Harrison to clear out the Keeper of the Grove without losing your Harrison. Yep. And that is the play. We agree with A. And 9 damage to the face is threatening lethal next turn, if he goes for it. But he's gonna go for the more stable removal. It's still 5 plus 8, 13, 1. Yeah, it is still lethal. That fireball is a little too late. If you will use it defensively to take out one of these minions, not gonna do much. This ping onto the Pilot Shredder might give a Doomsayer. So if you're half, you want to go for all the options, go for the removal into the Shredder. What could he draw next turn? Let's see. No, you don't run Pyroblast. Well, if you top deck a Fireball, no, that's still not enough because the Druid will play Hero ability this turn. Just to play around the second Fireball. You have nothing to activate Archmage Antonidas with. If for some reason he runs Pyro, that's the only thing that will save half right now. And a full-on reverse from our Polish player is reality. It is reality. Now that once he gives off the turn to half, yep, just a single Cogmaster, that's not gonna make a difference.
Well played.
GG, well played. I tip my hat off to you, good sir. A 83650 from Team noMERCY in Poland takes the win, wins back 50 euros, 10 points for the World Championship Series leading to BlizzCon. Congratulations. And of course, congratulations to our second place finisher, Empire Half as well, who takes home 5 points. Unfortunately, no money prizes, but still 5 points means that you go to get the chance to go to the last chance qualifier for the BlizzCon event as well. So there is a prize and value in that as well. I thank you all for watching this stream. If you enjoyed my casting, if you enjoyed watching the players play, then please consider throwing us a follow. Following our tournaments. I want and wish to see you in all our future tournaments as well. There's nothing more to say. I hope you guys keep playing more Hearthstone, and we'll see you next week.